So, quick geography question for you. What country do you think His Serene Highness Prince Michael of Liechtenstein would like to visit? So this is a man who's the chairman of a geopolitical intelligence service. He's a chairman of a trust around transgenerational wealth. He's a man who's traveled a lot. He still travels. He loves working, just chatting with him. And I was like, what do you enjoy doing? And he's like, I just like working. But he still hasn't visited this one country that is on his list. So I'll give you a clue. The continent is Africa. So now, let's see how good our audience is at your geography. What country do you think he has not visited that is top of his list to visit on the continent of Africa? Madagascar is top of my list, not his list. I would love to go there because of the movie. What else? Good guess. Okay, so countries in Africa. Egypt? No, not on the north coast. Where? Libya? No. It starts with an E. Ethiopia. That's right. Who said that? I'm going to get you something right after this for getting it right. Well done. Ethiopia. This is, I always love at an event when you have to introduce someone that really does not require an introduction. He is His Serene Highness Prince Michael of Liechtenstein, joining us virtually. Please give it up for him. He can see you, and now you'll be able to see him.
Thank you and good afternoon, and apologies that I'm not there physically, but I have quite a strong cold, and in order to be able to talk, I had to be silent for about an hour because I can't talk very long, otherwise I lose my voice. But nevertheless, I think I can say a few things shortly. I think the property rights are a basis for a functioning society, and also for social system. And we see that only social systems are only really successful in market economies. Because they need their financing and they work there. So actually capitalism is also social, and the property rights are very important. So we have to see always how can we secure the property rights, and we can see that we have problems. We have, and I think it was said before, we have governments and supranational organizations who are becoming more and more greedy, who run huge deficits, who have amassed a huge debt, and that starts eroding the property rights. And you cannot only, it's not necessary to take the properties away, it's sufficient to overregulate them, to have a lot of bureaucracy, etc. We had, in the classical system, the guarantee of property rights was given by institutions. The bank gave you the guarantee for your portfolio, you had a land register, you had a car register, you had this you had the company house, etc. But this, I would say there are two ways we have to look at that. There is in the, let's say, in the developed world, in the democratic world, I think there is a reliability there. But it's not in 2/3 or even more of the world that you can rely on, that you can rely really on government institutions. And I think there is decentralized systems which can secure property rights have a big future. I just want to say something else. I think we will have huge tasks in the nearer future. We have to do more impact investment, a lot of other investment in the global south. We will have to rebuild Ukraine and probably also Russia. Not immediately, but it will come. So there are huge tasks, and therefore people normally invest when their property rights are secured. And this, I like the idea of the decentralized system. Can we go to the next slide? And the purpose of the presentation is not to go into technical details, but rather to view token ownership and property rights from a practical view, and furthermore to emphasize the necessity of securing property rights. I think this is very, very important. And can we now go to the next one? There is one possibility through smart contracts. Smart contracts are very viable instruments to secure property rights and increase efficiency. I think, for instance, in Europe or in the democratic world, the big emphasis will be on the short term on increasing efficiency. But in the third world, where and for impact investment, I think this the property rights are quite doubtful, and I think there it might be very helpful if some ownership could be, let's say, the land register be done on the blockchain technology by smart contracts. There are at the moment 2 federal states of India who are trying to put the land register on blockchain. The same goes for Rwanda. Rwanda has already done it. And the idea behind is always, you know, an efficient agriculture needs that the farmer has his property rights. There have to be a system where it goes well. In Rwanda, they even said, well, there might be people who are prone for corruption if it's a land register, so they prefer to do it on blockchain. This is one side where we can increase efficiency and also increase security, and it might also help to increase investments. Can we go to the next slide? Now, if we come to the token, which is now our theme today, it represents the right of ownership of material or immaterial assets. Thus, the use of a token is a viable tool to secure property rights. I will talk mostly, and I know actually tokens which are, let's say, representing real asset and let's say intellectual property, less on digital assets. We have in Liechtenstein there a big advantage that we have given legal certainty as to how real asset and the associated rights can be represented digitally. Can we go to the next? Well, we have, I think everybody knows that we have these 3 categories: the payment tokens. I don't think we have to talk about that. The utility tokens. And I think I would mainly try to concentrate on the asset token which are actually based by assets. Can we go to the next slide? Well, the assets are digital token-based assets that primarily depend on cryptography and blockchain as part of a perceived or inherent value. The digital tokens have values and rights to receive benefits, perform special functions, or have no specific purpose or use. We'll talk about them. I think what is interested are the asset-backed tokens, which represent a claim to an actual asset or source of income. Securities dematerialized using decentralized ledger technology will only be crypto assets if their value is primarily derived from the cryptography. So this is less what I'm talking about. The digitization of the economy but paves the way back to greater self-determination and self-responsibility, something my friend Richard Werner put big emphasis on that. Can we go to the next slide? Now, I think what I put my main interest on, what can we do in the financial sector with that, and for what purposes? We see that the efficiency of the financial sector, of the traditional financial sector, has declined. It has become more and more difficult to get financing for smaller companies through the traditional sector. It has become very bureaucratic. It's also, transfers are getting more difficult, etc. And I think this looks for new applications which we can do. Well, I looked mostly at it also from the view of the trust business. What can we do there for securing assets of our clients? And this is I think it's a very important area. And we are just having a project, let's say, in a not less developed country, but let's say on the marginal, let's say an emerging country, for big real estate problems. And there we'll work with asset-backed non-fungible tokens, sort of different apartments, split the ownership. And this helps really to get financing. This is it's about a $400 million project. And at the moment, it's a bit difficult for political reasons, but it's progressing, and the financial community is interested to invest. So this is one side where we have to see from the trust business on going there. Other thing is, for instance, the ownership of land. You can also tokenize the land, and that gives you a certain security. Not necessarily when the basis in the country doesn't work and people simply invade it. What also happens that the token doesn't bring it, but it helps. And many of the emerging countries allow and are sometimes even go further in accepting these technologies because they know their weaknesses. And there it is very, very useful. They know it. They can do it. And we have and another thing is also for startup companies, and that doesn't need to be let's say an ICO, for which it is also good, but getting financing for the startups actually in either the equity or debt financing secured by the DLT. So I think there will be still a lot of developments. It's sometimes still, I think technically it has to improve still, but there can be things already done, and it's very interesting. Then it's certainly a big area where it is used now is the area of art. And there they have it, they have actually, it's either asset-backed or ideally as sort of a digital. This is also a big thing. People are interested in art. They like to invest in art, but don't rather know how to do that. And I think there are certain funds which are developed to use also DLT to secure the pieces of art, so that one knows exactly where it came from, what is the value, what was the valuation, is it secure? Normally one has a certificate that it is an original piece of art. But you can also multiply a good piece of art. This is the same, this is actually nothing new. You can digitally multiply it and let's say sell it to a number of people who have it a bit exclusively, the view, but they don't own the picture, but they have it for their use. And this is a bit, let's say in the 17th and 18th century, some of the big painters, when they had done a very impressive painting, they then made an engraving of a copper engraving of the painting, and sold them on the market on the limited share. So this is actually something which is nothing new actually in the art business. It's just a different way of doing it. I think maybe before I'm losing all my voice, I will just important impact investment, important as a security, important technological development. But I think what is for us very good, we were really first adapters and promoters of a law on the decentralized ledger technology. So we have a big advantage, and I think we should really go ahead to also use this advantage, because there are more and more other countries who are coming back, which is no problem, because actually a good technology will always be copied, or a good way of doing that. But I think we should do a lot there. And there I'm actually very grateful also for this summit, because it brings the knowledge of the community in Liechtenstein, but also worldwide, of the many things which can be done. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think you can still hear us. Thank you for being a part of
Yeah.
this.